Hey everybody, this is Izzy here coming to you with my review for the 2019 political action thriller Angel Has Fallen, which is part of the trilogy set of Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. It stars Gerard Butler as a Secret Service agent, Mike Banning, who is attempted to avert attempted presidential assassinations. With that said, I can remember when I first heard of Olympus Has Fallen, and I wasn't necessarily sold on watching it at first because it didn't seem like it was going to be anything that interested me on a conceptual and political level. And it wasn't until several friends of mine who had watched it before me told me how great it was, how intense it was, how action-packed it was, and they truly believed that it was something that I would enjoy. I watched it, fell in love with it, loved the sequel, London Has Fallen, and with that said, to I guess tie in to this review, I loved Angel Has Fallen. I thought it was absolutely entertaining. And maybe it's the biased individual in me because I have a certain fascination with political espionage thrillers where you have a protagonist that's attempted to expose corruption on a government level or even on a corporate level. Like, for example, I love 24. I love the Bourne Identity series. I love Splinter Cell. So anything that involves political concept where we have to not necessarily think outside the box, but it takes a lot of real life elements within. Actually, from what we read and what we see on the news, it takes those very facets of life that we have, I guess, educated ourselves on, and it ties it into a fictional aspect to where we watch it and we find ourselves saying, wow, this is exactly what's going on in the world today. And that's exactly what Angel Has Fallen has done. It takes a lot of the political tensions that we are reading and hearing about every single day, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or even CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, what have you. It takes a lot of those important facts that we have been, I guess, immersing ourselves in and tying it into what's happening in the real world and what's happening on the film. And Angel Has Fallen, I'm going to say it doesn't necessarily tread a lot of new ground. It follows the same exact plot line that the first two films had more or less, I guess, created. And what I really enjoyed about this film in particular is how it took, whereas the first film and the second film, they were more about the action spectacle. They were more about the explosions, the gunfights, the physical fisticuffs that Gerard Butler's character Mike Banning was engaging in when it came to combating the enemy antagonist. With this film, it was very different in that regard because it stripped away the whole action spectacle and it's much more toned down. It's a lot more grittier. It's a lot more brutal, and it's far more cerebral, where we get a little bit more in depth into the character of Mike Banning. And for me, what this film more or less, I guess, reflected for me personally is it reminded me a lot of 24 in the later seasons, and it reminded me a lot of the Bourne Identity, and it reminded me a lot of the recent, well, I don't want to say recent, but the Universal Soldier Regeneration, where it's more darker and more bleaker and far more espionage compared to its predecessors. In this film, Gerard Butler's character, Mike Banning, is framed for attempting to assassinate the President of the United States that is portrayed by Morgan Freeman. And it is his duty to attempt to clear his name. He is being hunted by the American government, he's being hunted by the FBI, he's being hunted by the CIA, and he's also being hunted by those who actually attempted to assassinate the President of the United States. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this just for the sake of, it's not going to be too spoilery because, again, we already know exactly what's going on within the confines of this film. At some point or another, you have to ask yourself, just exactly how many times are they going to attempt to assassinate the President of the United States? It just kind of makes you wonder a little bit, like, my God, seriously? And Mike Banning, in all honesty, after going through what you went through in the first and second film, I would have just quit that presidential detail, just went ahead and lived my life to the fullest extent and raised my family and just not even be concerned with the stress that goes with the job. But hey, whatever. Overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was actually fun. I loved the gritty and toned down, cerebral elements about it, and the fact that once again you go into a little bit more in depth into the character of Mike Banning, whereas he is the fact that he saved the president in the last two films. You actually begin to experience how it's kept taking a toll on him in terms of the concussions, the migraines, his inability to sleep, and those type of characterizations when it comes to the main protagonist of a story, especially when it comes to involving political tensions or political espionage. Those type of characters where, to me, I love them. They're flawed. They're very easy to relate to, and whereas we all remember Gerard Butler from the film 300, and I really enjoyed how they made him look a lot more rugged, more in pain. You just see the pain and the stress and the anger and the insomnia battle that he's experiencing just etched in his face. And that was another thing that I loved about how they did it with 24, where they showed Jack Bauer just aging and aging and aging, yet at the same time, despite his physical limitations, he is still doing what he can to right the wrongs that he has been involved in. And that is essentially the plot line of this film. Whereas you have Mike Banning, who is trying to clear his name after being framed for attempting to frame the President of the United States. Now, again, with that said, at some point or another, you would think, as simple as this plot line is, and I can fully admit it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if, as close as he always is to the President of the United States as being part of the Secret Service detail, at some point you can say, okay, if you really want to kill this man, he would have just done it and been over, and especially this have it be done with. But hey, again, you tend to overlook those obvious plot holes, and you just go and enjoy it for what it is. It's very straightforward. It's not anything where you have to sit back and think about the complexities of this storyline. It is what it is. It's fun. It's exciting. It's intense. It's cerebral. It's visceral. It's brutal, and you just can't get enough of it. And I will say, I sincerely hope that this is the last of the franchise, because there's only so many ways and there's so many directions that you can go into before people eventually start getting tired of the overall concept. Because again, if you do another film where someone's attempted to assassinate the President of the United States, you probably just throw your hands up and just be like, okay, seriously, again, we're going down this road again. But I did enjoy it. I thought it captivated me to the point to where I will absolutely have it as part of my collection when it comes to its release on DVD. Nick Nolte plays Mike Banning's father, and Nick Nolte is playing Nick Nolte, very hammy, scene-chewing, just being the over-the-top actor that we know him. Well, his much later on. Jada Pinkett Smith plays an FBI agent who is sent on the detail to try to bring Mike Banning in. Danny Hudson plays a top-secret government official that, again, I don't want to spoil anything, because I do want people to watch it for themselves, and you'll see. It's magnificent. Morgan Freeman plays the President of the United States, whereas, President Trumbo, it's Morgan Freeman basically being Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is one of our greatest actors, especially in this lifetime and in many generations. He is a wonderful, wonderful talent, and he carries a role of playing the President of the United States to the best of his abilities, and he does it perfectly. I loved it. The action in this film is very toned down compared to the first two films. As I mentioned before, it's a lot more cerebral, it's a lot more grittier, it's more darker, it's more bleaker, and the colors really truly represent a character that's on the run and attempted to avert any type of suspicion. And when you have a main character that is being hunted by every single government official agency that you could possibly fathom within your mind, you have to come to the realization that this is what makes a great film and a great story. And these are the type of stories that I love reading about, because I've never been one to read or to be fond of stories where the character isn't flawed, where the character doesn't experience some type of fallback or pain. And this Angel Has Fallen is no different. It's very straightforward. You don't have to think about anything. It's just one of those type of films where you know what you get when you walk into the theater, and it's fun. It has you on the edge of your seat. It's very intense, and the gunfights are I don't want to say it's not anything to the vein of John Wick or anything like that, but the gunfights is very precise and to the point to where the camera's not lingering on the action too much, but when it does linger on the action, it takes you for a whirl spin. But overall, Angels Fallen, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 2 thumbs up. There is one scene in particular where it was obvious CGI it was very, very obvious computer generated imagery, and most people are very, especially in past reviews that I have done, whether written or even on my YouTube channel, a lot of my complaints regarding CGI tends to, I guess, take away from the overall intense nature of the moment that's being transpired on the screen. And that one moment, you could tell where the CGI was utilized, and I just thought, oh man, I miss the days where it was real life explosions and real life sets being destroyed, and it just gave it that much more of an authentic emotional feel and intense nature to it. But again, it's just a minor gripe. It's not too big of a deal. But overall, again, I give it a 5 out of 5 and 2 thumbs up. Gerard Butler does a great job as a badass Secret Service agent. Nick Nolte is basically being an over-the-top version of himself. Danny Hudson does a great job, and the action is what you'd expect. I fully recommend it. I absolutely recommend it. I hope everybody does get a chance to go see it, and when they do, feel free to let me know on my Facebook page what you thought about it. Let me know on my YouTube channel what you thought. Give me a like. Let me know in the comment section. And my next review is most likely, obviously, going to be Chapter 2, which will be on September 6th. I will definitely catch that on opening night. Either way, my friends, Angel Has Fallen, 5 out of 5, 2 thumbs up. Go watch it, and I will see you all again. Take care. Peace.